This is The Scoop for Tuesday.
I'm Josh Holton with the WMNF News headlines. A federal judge ruled yesterday that the National Park Service violated two federal laws when it decided to release land to Miami-Dade County for the controversial Miami Wilds project. WLRN's Julia Cooper has more.
The National Park Service failed to complete a required environmental review and consultation process before releasing a land use restricted site to Miami-Dade. That's according to a ruling from a federal district judge today, stating that the agency violated both the Endangered Species and National Environmental Policy Acts. The land was promised to the county for development of the Miami Wilds Water Park project, but per federal law, the Park Service was supposed to consult the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service before authorizing the release of 67 acres near Zoo Miami. They also failed to complete a biological assessment to identify any potential effects to native species and their habitats. I'm Julia Cooper in Miami.
This is the last committee week before the legislative session, and WMNF's Chris Young reports House Minority Leader Francis Driscoll laid out the goals of the Democrats in the upcoming session.
Here we are in the last committee week before session, and it feels like we haven't done too much.
Driscoll says she anticipates more anti-LGBTQ bills and what she claims are culture war bills from Republicans. Bills such as House Bill 599, which some call the Don't Say Gay bill for workplaces, would not allow some employers to ask employees their preferred pronouns. Another bill, House Bill 49, proposes weakening child labor laws by removing work guidelines for 16 and 17-year-olds.
Taking away these protections means that a boss could demand a kid work an overnight shift right before an important test. This makes a kid decide between their job and their education, and for some families, that's a very hard question.
She says some of her party's goals will be expanding Medicaid, affordable housing, and monitoring the use of taxpayer dollars with private and charter schools. The legislative session starts January 9th. For WMNF News, I'm Chris Young.
Florida is asking a federal appeals court to overturn a district judge's ruling in a decade-long battle about children with complex medical needs receiving care in nursing homes. Margie Menzel has more.
The state is appealing a ruling by U.S. District Judge Donald Middlebrooks that the Florida Medicaid program violated the Americans with Disabilities Act. Middlebrooks said the state is required to provide services in the most integrated setting appropriate to meet the needs of people with disabilities. He issued an injunction requiring the state to provide more private duty nursing to help children live with their families or in their communities, rather than in nursing facilities. But the state's attorneys say that's an arbitrary and unachievable goal. A panel of the U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals is scheduled to hear arguments in the case on January 24th. I'm Margie Menzel.
Continuing our look at social justice in art, out of the thousands of modern and contemporary artists on display from 277 galleries at the nearly week-long art festival at the 21st Annual Art Basel Miami Beach, another exhibit rose above to capture global attention. I spoke with Tanya Vitale, who described an artist who died shortly after finishing her work. The coup in Argentina inspired the late Lilian Maresca to create subversive art about the injustice until her death in 1994. Vitale is with the Rolf Gallery. Maresca can be seen in her photographic art alongside images of former President Bill Clinton and former Argentinian politicians.
Carlos Menem was president in Argentina while Clinton was president here. So we know they make a lot of business together that it doesn't went very well for us. Right. We have a very long-lasting dictatorship in our country. Many people disappear. So she's making a huge statement against the corruption, and she made a huge collage with all the faces of politicians and military people that for her sold our country. So she's naked because she's nothing to hide in front of the corruption in her back.
Vitale says Maresca would have wanted to use this exhibit to raise awareness about the troubling shared history between the U.S. and Argentina. To see photos from the exhibition, go to our website at wmnf.org/news. And for the weather, it's cold and fair in the Tampa Bay area. Highs today in the mid-70s, overnight lows in the upper 50s. Tomorrow will be mostly cloudy with highs in the mid-70s. I'm Josh Holton with the WMNF News headlines on 88.5 FM and the WMNF app.
This is The Scoop, recorded at WMNF Tampa.